entire format added to Yu-Gi-Oh! TikTok went up. About 3 or 4 days ago, Konami introduced an entirely new format called Genesys format. All cards are legal, but they have a point system. And you add all your points up, your deck cannot make it over 100 points. One thing I really like about this is that it's on Dueling Book. Dueling Book has been a saving grace for a lot of people that want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And get some Yu-Gi-Oh! In, but don't really want to go out to tournaments or don't have time or anything like that. So with this, people can test if they like the format before they go out and start committing to getting cards and things like that. I've only been Dueling Book for years and years, and I've been cool with that. So shout out to Dueling Book. Genesys format is really cool. I've been doing some deck building, deck testing, so let me know what you guys think. There is an entirely new Yu-Gi-Oh! Format announced on... There is an entirely new format on Dueling Book called Genesys format. This is a high-rated game, 17 watchers. We got Vanquished Soul versus Generator. One thing I like about Genesys format is there's a lot of room for creativity. Right now, there is going to become a point where creativity goes out the window and competitive and just playing the best cards becomes one of the biggest factors, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. I've done the most deck building in the past 3 days than I've done in the last like 8 to 10 years. So I'm getting good feedback about what people think about Genesys format. I think it'll continue to do good. I'm gonna still be play testing, and then I got a podcast I'm doing later about it too. So let me know what y'all think. Yo, what's good? Hey, the podcast is gonna start really soon. I'm just making TikToks. I'm making TikTok responses, and then the podcast is gonna start in a minute. So, y'all still here? Y'all rock with me? But the podcast is gonna start after I'm done making these responses to these TikToks. Yu-Gi-Oh! TikTok, what up? Genesys format. Yu-Gi-Oh! TikTok, what up? Genesys format is... I've started deck building and watching high-rated Genesys format games. And for me, as someone that hasn't done any playtesting in the last maybe 10 years, any real, I wouldn't say playtesting, deck building for sure. I spent time making my favorite decks. Right now I'm playing Dragon Ruler, Dragon Turbo, Chaos Dragon stuff. But the fact that I can play that is just crazy. High rated dueling book games right now look like this. 16 watchers, this is Generator versus Vanquished Soul. So a lot of the Vanquished Soul cards are free. There was an update to the point system after like a day. So I'm going to be going over that in the podcast, but you guys will catch the shorts coming up soon. Team Trash, what up, yo? Appreciate you hitting that like button, bro. Yeah, the new format, I'm not gonna lie. The fact that I'm doing deck building for the new format is a good sign. Because I haven't done any real deck building in a very long time. And, you know. What do you think about it? Team Trash, let me know what you think. What do you think about the format? Like I said, the podcast is going to be starting soon. We're in the waiting room right now. One thing people gotta understand about Genesys format is that it's not gonna be all slow like you think it is. There are some crazy decks and crazy combos that people have already come up with the old list and the new list. Right now, high-rated game, Generator versus Vanquished Soul, because a lot of the Vanquished Soul cards are free, but that's a different conversation. There is going to be a meta. There is going to be top decks. This format is it has a lot of room for creativity, and I really like that with the deck building and all that. I like that. But there's gonna be a meta. We can't act like it would be nice if there wasn't, but at some point there will be. Hey, let's go. Shout out Team Trash. What are you building? I got a couple more TikToks. I'll show you guys what I'm building before we start the podcast. Appreciate y'all hitting the like button too, for real. I'm gonna put a donation link eventually. Virtual World, I saw that in a high-rated game earlier today. Oh shit. Hold on, yeah. Alright, I'm playing, what am I playing? I'm playing like a Chaos Dragon Ruler Turbo kind of thing. So I'm using the Dragon Rulers to facilitate the turbo concept, but I'm still getting the ratios right. Yu-Gi-Oh! TikTok, what up? Genesys format is a new format that was announced about 3 or 4 days ago by Konami. The thing that I like is that this format is already on Dueling Book, which means there's a non-invasive way that you can test it and see if you like it before you commit to getting cards. I was talking to one of my homies, apparently there might be YCSs, and I've seen a couple locals just even around here doing Genesys tournaments this weekend, and some of them turned their Wednesday tournament into a Genesys tournament. So it's doing really well right now. There's positive feedback, but I'm excited to see where it goes. I've done more deck building in the last couple days than I've done in years. Yu-Gi-Oh! TikTok, what up? If you've heard about Genesys format, it's real and it's on Dueling Book. Duelingbook.com is where you can go. It's web-based, so you can try Genesys format, see if you like it, and then talk about the cards. Well, it has all of the cards, but it also has the point system integrated. So you don't have to guess about what format are we in for the points. When it changes, it changes. So if you really want to try Genesys format, I've been doing some crazy deck building. If you want to try it, duelingbook.com. right, let's get this podcast started. They got a new format. Yeah, so there is a new format. It's called Genesys format. Everything is legal, but they're bringing a point system, and you can get to 100, but you can't go past 100 points. I'm watching a game right now that's Vanquish. This game has been going on forever, but I'm about to do a podcast about it. Let's see if I that game took forever. Okay, let me see. I'm about to start the podcast up. How's the sound? Is the music in the background like it's supposed to be? Let me show you guys actually what I'm playing first. Yeah, this format, I like this format a lot. I'm just going to talk about it for about 30 minutes, upload the video to YouTube.
Buying this boat was a total no.
Put a video on repeat. Now I can't find the game. Jason Flores, the rulers are 7 each. So let me go to the deck right here. So the rulers are 7 each. So there's no scenario where you can play 3 of each. So you have to kind of spread out which ones are worth it. And then Eclipse Wyvern is 33. But Eclipse Wyvern is kind of necessary. So it's good though. They're bringing it back. I like the way it goes. You know what I mean? Yo. Alright, let me start the podcast. Well, actually, hold on. I want to see, did I make any changes? I want to see if I can get in a game real quick before I start. Okay, nobody wants to play. Alright, so I'm going to start the podcast. I'm just going to talk about, everything that I've seen with Genesys so far. It's a great format. Well, I don't want to say it's a great format, but I do like the ability to be able to deck build, you know what I mean, and actually deck build. So, but let's get it. Okay. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Token Black, aka Don Zalug. I make sure everybody eats. And today we got the first episode of the Different Dimension podcast. Clap it up, clap it up. First episode on the return. The Different Dimension podcast is going strictly Yu-Gi-Oh! Got the Different Dimension Tournament Series. A lot of things going on. So this is a big one. First episode back. Now let's get into it. So there is a new format that got announced called Genesys format. And Genesys format is every card is legal, right? Every card is legal in Genesys format, but every card has a point system. So we'll just go just so I can show it to y'all. And if you're not looking at the video, duelingbook.com is where you can test this at. But every card has a point system, right? Well, not every card. Some cards are free, but every card has a point system, right? You cannot get over 100. You can get to 100, but you can't get over 100. But every card is legal. So, and I know that's a lot of people wanted something like that, where this format is fresh. This format is fresh. It's not Edison, GOAT format, you know, nothing but respect to those formats, obviously. But I want people to understand that this is new and this is fresh. So my initial thoughts on it, I was skeptical. I was skeptical when I first saw it because, you know, it's a new Konami format. They've done, in the last couple months, Konami hasn't really been on anybody's good side. They did a lot of things to retro formats that retro format players, now I guess I can call myself a retro format player, did not like. So they weren't on anybody's good side. With this format, I've done more deck building than I have in the last 3 days than I have in the last couple years. So I'm actually deck building, actually trying stuff out. And I think that's a good sign. I think that's a really good sign. With, you know, the fact that I haven't really deck built like that. Every deck that I have for Go or Edison is either something that I played before and just knew, or I ripped it from somewhere. So just the fact that I'm getting into the deck constructor, doing deck building, I think that's a good sign for how I feel about the format. There are, I don't want to say there's meta defining things that are happening right now, but there is going to be a meta. I want everyone to understand and that there is going to be a meta. So when people come into this format, I think that's kind of what I did. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right, my bad. I am a little sick, y'all. I'm gonna keep it real with you. But anyways, there is gonna be a meta. So you can play your favorite deck. The First thing I did was try to make ghost tricks. So you can make your favorite deck. Is your favorite deck going to be good enough to beat all of the other decks? That segues right into there is going to be a meta, which segues into a lot of these games that I've been seeing in high rated scenarios are all Vanquish Soul. A lot of the Vanquish Soul cards are free. Vanquish Soul is already a good deck. Even their power cards, I think, were free or just super cheap. The first day, I saw a lot of Fire King. A lot of Fire King. But I haven't really seen much Fire King. I also haven't jumped in rated yet either, so. But I think rated will, eventually rated will iron itself out. So deck building specifically in Genesys is different than GOAT or Edison or one of the retro formats. In comparison to retro this cannot be compared to retro formats other than the fact that you might see some of those cards played in an old deck or something like that. But this is completely fresh. It can't be compared to retro formats. So, but deck building in this format is different than any other format because you have the added pressure of your cap reaching 100. And it can get to 100 fast. For example, Pot of Greed is 30. Graceful Charity is 40, and I think Delinquent Duo is 20. So a lot of those cards that can be considered broken, they cost a lot. So you have to sacrifice, do I want to play this card even though it's broken? I think card destruction is 40 as well. Do I want to play this card because it's broken and take up a lot of my cap space? Or do I want to sacrifice that cap space? Because Graceful Charity, I tried to fit it into a Dark World build. Graceful Charity in Dark Worlds is pretty good, but it costs 40, so you can't play a lot of the other cards in the engine because of that. So that's another factor when it comes to deck building. And then the point system itself is really good. There's power cards, there's cards that don't really cost that much. So, and then you also have to consider the side deck as well. So the 100 is not just main deck, it's throughout everything. So side deck and extra deck as well. So that same point system that I just talked about, the differences between, you have to consider that for your extra deck and your side deck as well. The meta right now, I've seen Runic, I've seen a lot of Vanquish Soul, I've seen some Fire King. So there will become a meta, but the deck building specifically, you have to get really granular in the cards that you choose. Even in Vanquish Soul or something like that, do you play Ash? Which hand traps are you willing to play? Which hand traps do you think are the best? And then can you fit those hand traps based on their point score with all of the other cards in your deck? Now, for example, Ash Blossom is 15 points. So 3 Ash, that's 45 points, which is right close to half of all of your points. Droll was 7, so you can play 3 for 21, but now they bumped it down to 5. So you can play 3 for 15, which is a lot better. But is Droll the card that you need to play? Is that the better hand trap in whatever the format or whatever the meta when it shakes out to be? So hand traps is another thing. Not even just your main deck and your main combos, but the hand traps have their own. Peruli, I think, is 10. The other one is 7. The red one. So there's a lot of different aspects of what you need to consider when you're deck building in this deck. Whereas most people can say, most people in retro formats have something that they can point to that says this is kind of a iteration of that. This format doesn't have that. Not yet, at least. Will Genesis last? Will Genesis last? I think the positive feedback that I'm getting and that I'm seeing for Genesis format, I think it could last and be around for a really long time. But we have to consider the meta, what the meta is going to become, if there's any FTKs that are going to come out that are going to make people not want to play. How are those FTKs going to be checked, if checked at all, when they exist? So I think that I think that this can exist for a long time, and I hope that it does, but Konami has to make the right decisions when it comes to checking the format, changing the format, changing the point system, all of that kind of stuff. Because it can be what it is right now. There's people everywhere that some of my old homies are getting back into the game now because of this. So, I mean, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. And also another good sign about what I said earlier about the deck building thing. Like, that is a good sign. So, I think Genesis will last, but they have to make the right decisions. A Rock was good. This is duelingbook.com, but this is Genesis format. Genesis format is the new format they just announced a couple days ago. North know what's up. Yeah, back in the day it was Dueling Network. But do you remember YVD though? I'm about to get into some. Let me see if I can get a game in. Earlier, I couldn't get a game in. Alright, let's see if I get to play the game. He ashed my future fusion. Lucky for me, I drew another one. You sacrificed the points for the ash, bruh. You sacrificed the points for the ash. He sacrificed the points for the ash. Now you playing ash. Yeah. Now we playing ash. Generator. Never been a hater. Who the fuck is that? What could I draw here? Any dragon ruler monster? Okay. You can target one face-up card your opponent controls and negate the effects until the end of this turn. When this card inflicts battle damage, you can target one tuner in your graveyard. You can change all monsters your opponent controls when it declares an attack. Okay. You got it. I don't know how to play. I would have liked for that future fusion to go off. Oh damn! I didn't even add all of the. I don't know. Draco Sag, Big Eye. Is anybody else playing Genesys format right now? I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it, I'm not gonna lie. I keep drawing the ass though. Let's see if he drew the ash. didn't draw the ash this time. Look at that. He ashed the fucking. Oh, he keeps having ash. I guess you spend the points. I mean, shit. I mean, hey, spend the cash on the ash. He kept drawing that motherfucker. Goddamn. Is that game? Oh, that's game, yeah. Future Fusion is so ass. Yo, Future Fusion is fucking ass. Shoe and Twister. What the? Lamar, what's up? I haven't played Master Duel. I'm not gonna lie. I have not played Master Duel. The only reason I don't play Master Duel is because of Maxi. If Maxi wasn't a thing in Master Duel, I probably would have given it more of a chance, but when I found out Maxi was a thing, I didn't even look at that format. I haven't been able to activate a future fusion either, like at all. I've drawn it 3 games in a row and haven't been able to activate it. I wonder how much Swift Iron Scarecrow is. Yo, TikTok, what up? I don't think Swift Iron Scarecrow is bad. Dog, yo, I can't do this. When I stream, I get like people that are not, you know what I mean? Like, what? I've been playing only Genesys format. I haven't played any GOAT. Now nobody wants to play GOAT. Are you kidding me? Alright. Let me get up out of here. I'll be live again tomorrow. I'm gonna start making more time to go live. So, especially with Genesys format. But I'll be doing a lot on this YouTube channel. I'm gonna start uploading. I'll let you guys know tomorrow. I'm kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie. So I can't. I'm not gonna stream as long as I was sick for the last 2 days, but I really wanted to. I got a lot going on for this channel. Tengu plays Edison. Tengu plays Genesys. Tengu plays Edison.